In a world that constantly tells us to seek approval, follow the crowd, and find validation in others, there is a path that's often ignored, the solitary path of self-reliance. It's the path that only you can walk, and though it's often lonely, it's where true growth happens. Today, we explore why walking your path alone isn't a sign of weakness, but rather the key to discovering your true strength, embracing responsibility, and forging a legacy that lasts far beyond the applause of others. Solitude is often misunderstood in today's world. We've been taught to fear it, to see it as something negative or even as a sign of failure. We associate solitude with loneliness, but the truth is far from that. Solitude is a powerful tool for growth, a chance to connect with yourself in a way that no external distraction ever could. It's not isolation, it's an opportunity for self-mastery. You see, the world around us is constantly noisy. It's filled with opinions, expectations, and pressures that are not our own. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded by messages that tell us what we should do, what we should think, how we should feel. In a world so saturated with external influences, it's easy to lose track of who we truly are and what we truly need. That's why solitude, at its core, is not just being alone. It's about finding clarity amid the chaos. When you step into solitude, you give yourself the chance to take back control. It's where you begin to hear your true voice, the voice that doesn't need validation from anyone else. It's in these quiet moments that your mind has the freedom to think, to reflect, and to decide what really matters to you. You start to hear your instincts, your deeper desires, and the truth that's been buried under all the noise. Solitude allows you to shed all the external expectations and tune into your own rhythm. Being alone doesn't mean you're weak or disconnected. It means you're becoming stronger, more independent, more resilient. Solitude is where you test your beliefs, challenge your ideas, and sharpen your mental clarity. It's where you go to strengthen your will, where you realize that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the strength of your own mind. There is a unique power in solitude, because when no one is around to tell you what you can or can't do, you are forced to rely on your own sense of purpose. Imagine waking up each day with a clear sense of direction, knowing exactly who you are and what you stand for. That clarity doesn't come from being constantly surrounded by others. It comes from spending time alone, reflecting and meditating on your thoughts and actions. In solitude, you become the architect of your own thoughts. You are no longer a passive recipient of external noise, but an active participant in your own life's narrative. And the more time you spend in solitude, the more you will understand that your mind is your greatest ally, not your greatest enemy. Solitude allows you to assess your values without the distortion of external influence. It is where you define your true priorities, separate from the distractions of social norms or the expectations of others. It's about finding peace in your own company, knowing that you are enough without needing validation from anyone else. This is the foundation for personal strength. When you learn to rely on yourself in solitude, you become capable of standing strong in the face of any storm. It's in these quiet moments that we confront our fears, acknowledge our weaknesses, and cultivate the self-discipline required to overcome them. Solitude is not an escape. It's a space where you can truly face yourself. When you take the time to be alone, you confront the very essence of your being. You become aware of your limitations, your flaws, and your vulnerability. But, more importantly, you begin to see the potential within you, the strength that has always been there, waiting for you to acknowledge it. There's a misconception that to achieve greatness, we need to be surrounded by others, by people who will support us, cheer for us, or tell us what to do. But the truth is that greatness comes from within, and it is often cultivated in the stillness of solitude. The people who have achieved extraordinary things weren't always surrounded by crowds. In fact, many of them spent the majority of their time in solitude, working on their craft, refining their skills, and preparing for the moments when they would be called upon to rise. Solitude isn't about avoiding the world, it's about being fully present in it. When you're alone with yourself, you are able to evaluate your actions, learn from your mistakes, and plan your next steps with clarity. You can't do that if you're constantly seeking approval from others or chasing external validation. It's when you're alone that you find your true purpose. Because you're not distracted by what others think or expect, you can create your path, set your goals, and chart your course without being influenced by the opinions of others. In this noisy, chaotic world, solitude is where you develop the mental toughness to stay focused on your own journey. It's where you cultivate the mindset that no matter what is happening around you, you are unwavering in your commitment to yourself and your purpose. The outside world will always be full of distractions, but your time spent alone is a precious opportunity to remain grounded, centered, and clear. So, when you find yourself alone, don't see it as a burden. See it as an opportunity to grow stronger, to sharpen your mind, and to discover who you truly are. In solitude, you meet the most important person you'll ever know, yourself. And it's in that meeting that your true power is revealed. In the stillness, you'll find the strength to walk your path with confidence, clarity, and purpose. And that is how you master your own life. By embracing solitude, not as something to fear, but as the key to your self-mastery. In a world that thrives on speed and urgency, patience is an art that seems to be increasingly undervalued. We live in an age of instant gratification, where everything is available at the touch of a button. We can have the food we want delivered to our door in minutes, our questions answered in seconds with a quick search, and even our most intimate connections can be formed through the swipe of a screen. And yet, despite all this convenience, the one thing that is often missing is the one thing that can make all the difference in our lives: patience. The truth is, patience is not just about waiting. It's about how you wait and how you respond to the process of waiting. It's about cultivating the ability to remain calm, composed, and focused, no matter how much the world around you seems to demand your immediate attention. And this is where the power of Stoic philosophy can truly transform your perspective. One of the most profound aspects of Stoic thought is the understanding that our control over the world is limited, but our control over ourselves is boundless. The external world is full of distractions, challenges, and events that are beyond our influence. We can't control the weather, the traffic, the opinions of others, or the pace at which things unfold. What we can control, however, is our response to these circumstances, and this is where patience becomes a true tool of mastery. Patience, in the context of Stoicism, is not a passive state of waiting for things to happen. It's an active form of self-discipline, a mental strength that helps us navigate the unpredictability of life with resilience and wisdom. To be patient is not to be idle. It is to engage with the world with clarity, to make decisions based on reason, and to remain steady even when things are not going as planned. Patience means having the self-awareness to recognize when to act and when to step back, knowing that forcing things to happen is often the fastest way to derail progress. This brings us to one of the core teachings of Stoicism: the idea of focusing on what is within your control. In life, there are always going to be things that are beyond our reach, circumstances, other people's actions, and outcomes that we can't predict. The more energy we spend trying to control these things, the more frustration and impatience we invite into our lives. Patience, therefore, isn't about tolerating life's unpredictability. It's about recognizing that we are only responsible for our own actions, thoughts, and responses. The challenge is not in waiting for things to unfold, but in how we choose to wait. Will we wait with anxiety, frustration, and impatience, or will we wait with a sense of inner calm, trust in the process, and a deep understanding that good things take time? This is where discipline comes into play. Discipline in the face of uncertainty is what allows us to embrace patience as a source of strength rather than a weakness. When we cultivate patience, we stop rushing through life. We begin to see the value in taking our time and making deliberate decisions. Instead of feeling the pressure to be constantly moving forward, we start to appreciate the moments of stillness and reflection. In those moments, we find clarity, insight, and the ability to see things from a broader perspective. Patience, in this sense, becomes the gateway to deeper understanding and better decision-making. It's important to recognize that patience isn't just a reaction to external circumstances. It's also a mindset that we can choose to adopt in all areas of our lives. For example, when we encounter challenges or setbacks, our instinct might be to get frustrated or upset. But Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are not dictated by the external world. They are a result of how we interpret and respond to it. When we practice patience, we learn to detach from the immediate emotional reactions that arise in difficult situations and instead respond with calmness, focus, and rationality. This is not to say that patience means being passive or complacent. On the contrary, Stoic patience encourages us to act with purpose, but with the understanding that action often requires time, persistence, and careful consideration. It's about doing the right thing, not the easy thing, and accepting that progress is often gradual. It's about putting in the effort, remaining committed, and trusting that results will follow in due time. The truth is, patience requires courage. It requires the courage to resist the temptation to rush through life, to avoid the urge to seek immediate results, and to embrace the uncertainty of the future without fear. It's about trusting the process and recognizing that, while we cannot control every outcome, we can control our approach, our attitude, and our response. So, when you find yourself feeling frustrated or impatient, remember that you are not alone. This is a challenge that all of us face. But it is also an opportunity. An opportunity to practice patience, to develop your inner strength, and to trust that everything unfolds in its own time. When we learn to be patient, we are not just waiting for things to happen, we are actively shaping our experience, remaining steady and grounded no matter what comes our way. Patience is not about doing nothing. It's about doing everything with intention, clarity, and the understanding that time itself is a great teacher. Let that be your guide, and you will find that patience is not just a virtue, it is the key to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. In a world that is constantly moving, with new challenges, distractions, and expectations thrown at us daily, one of the greatest skills we can cultivate is the ability to pause and find stillness within ourselves. Stillness, often overlooked, is more than just physical quietness. It is the ability to detach from the chaos around us and create space for clarity, reflection, and focus. It's about cultivating an inner calm that remains steady, no matter how loud the world may get. The idea of stillness as a superpower might seem counterintuitive at first. We live in an age where action is worshipped, where movement and progress are often equated with success. The pressure to be constantly doing, achieving, and moving forward can make us feel like if we're not in perpetual motion, we're falling behind. But the reality is that stillness, when practiced intentionally, can be one of our most powerful tools for growth, understanding, and effective action. When we talk about stillness, we're referring to more than just sitting in silence. Stillness is about cultivating an internal state of calm, an ability to step back from the noise and distractions and give ourselves the space to breathe. It's about disconnecting from the constant barrage of information, the pressure to keep up, and the expectations that pull us in 1,000 different directions. Stillness is a practice that aligns deeply with Stoic principles. The Stoics understood the importance of cultivating inner peace, regardless of the outer circumstances. They recognized that external events are beyond our control, but our thoughts, actions, and emotions are ours to manage. When we can find stillness, we become less reactive to the world around us. We stop allowing external events to dictate our emotional state, and instead, we choose how we respond. This creates a sense of calm that can carry us through even the most challenging situations. Imagine for a moment that you are facing a stressful situation, perhaps a deadline at work, a difficult conversation, or a personal challenge. The natural impulse might be to panic, to feel overwhelmed, or to rush into action without thinking. But what if, instead, you paused? What if, instead of reacting immediately, you took a moment to center yourself, to focus inward, and to gather your thoughts? This is where the power of stillness lies. Stillness allows us to be present in the moment, free from the noise of the past and the anxiety of the future. It is in this moment of calm that we find clarity. Instead of reacting out of fear or impatience, we respond with intention and wisdom. Stillness gives us the mental space to assess situations with objectivity and discernment, allowing us to make better decisions and act with purpose. Another profound aspect of stillness is that it enables us to reconnect with our values. When we're caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to get swept away by external pressures. We might find ourselves making decisions based on what others expect of us, or what society deems important, rather than what truly aligns with our core beliefs and values. Stillness, however, provides us with the opportunity to reconnect with what truly matters. It's in these quiet moments that we can ask ourselves, is this in alignment with my values? Does this bring me closer to the person I want to be? This self-awareness is a powerful tool for living a more authentic and purposeful life. Stillness also helps us maintain a long-term perspective. In a world that encourages instant gratification, it's easy to become impatient and frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as we'd like. However, the Stoics understood that not everything is within our immediate control. Instead of rushing and forcing outcomes, we must learn to embrace the natural rhythm of life. Stillness teaches us to be patient and to trust that things unfold in their own time. It encourages us to focus on the process rather than obsessing over the end result. This patience, cultivated through stillness, is not about passivity. It's about cultivating the discipline to wait when necessary and to act with precision when the time is right. It's the ability to remain steady even when things around us are in motion, and to wait for the right moment to move forward with clarity and purpose. Stillness in a world that constantly demands action is a radical act of self-care. In our fast-paced society, it can feel like there's always something to do, someone to please, or something to prove. But when we take the time to cultivate stillness, we're not being lazy or avoiding responsibility. We're preparing ourselves to approach life with a more grounded and focused mindset. We're giving ourselves the mental and emotional space to approach challenges with a clear head and a calm heart. Stillness also enhances our ability to be present with others. When we are constantly on the go, always thinking about what's next or what's behind us, we're not fully engaging with the people around us. However, when we practice stillness, we become more attuned to the present moment and more attentive to those we interact with. We can listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and engage more meaningfully with others. In the midst of life's chaos, stillness offers us a sanctuary, a place where we can reconnect with ourselves, our values, and our purpose. It helps us navigate the noise, distractions, and pressures of the outside world, giving us the ability to live with intention, focus, and clarity. So, embrace stillness as your superpower. Give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to act from a place of calm and purpose. You'll find that in those moments of stillness, the answers become clearer, your decisions become wiser, and your journey becomes more aligned with the life you wish to create. When you master stillness, you will see that it is not just a passive form of waiting, but an active process of cultivating inner peace, clarity, and strength. And in a world of constant change, that is one of the most powerful tools you can possess. In a world where it's easy to point fingers and shift blame, the idea of taking full responsibility for our lives can seem like a heavy burden. It's so much easier to blame others or external circumstances for our struggles, failures, and even our misfortunes. We live in a society that often encourages us to find someone or something else to hold accountable when things go wrong. But here's the truth. True growth and inner peace begin when we step into the full ownership of our own path. Responsibility rather than blame is the key to mastering our destiny. When we embrace responsibility, we acknowledge that we are the creators of our own experiences. Our decisions, actions, and reactions shape the reality we live in. While it might feel momentarily comforting to blame others for the challenges we face, this mindset keeps us trapped in a victim mentality. We remain stuck, waiting for others to change or for external circumstances to improve before we can move forward. But in reality, our power lies not in blaming others, but in accepting responsibility for how we respond to whatever life presents. When you start to own your path, you recognize that you are not a passive observer in your life. You are the active participant. Your choices matter. Every moment, every decision, every reaction is yours to control. No one else can dictate how you will respond to a situation unless you allow them to. This shift in mindset is a game changer. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your life, instead of passively sitting in the passenger seat, blaming everyone else for the direction you're heading. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that we have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. It's not about taking blame for everything that happens to us, especially when things are outside our control. What it does mean, though, is acknowledging that while we may not be able to control the external circumstances, we always have control over how we react to them. When we stop blaming others, we stop relinquishing our power. We recognize that even in the most challenging situations, we have the ability to choose our response. Imagine a difficult situation where something goes wrong. Maybe at work, in a relationship, or with a personal project. It's easy to start looking outward for someone or something to blame. Maybe you think it's your boss's fault, or perhaps a friend or colleague didn't hold up their end of the deal. But when you take responsibility, you take a step back and ask yourself, what could I have done differently? How could I have approached this situation in a way that would have led to a different outcome? This shift in thinking empowers you to see where you can improve and what actions you can take to avoid similar challenges in the future. In fact, taking responsibility for your path means understanding that the choices you make today will shape your tomorrow. It's about embracing your ability to change and evolve, even if the circumstances aren't ideal. You may not be able to control everything around you, but you can control your mindset, your work ethic, your responses, and your attitude. When you own your path, you stop waiting for the world to change, and you begin changing yourself. You take deliberate action based on your values, your goals, and your sense of purpose. This mindset shift also helps us move away from the harmful practice of self-pity. It's natural to feel frustrated or upset when things don't go according to plan. But when we slip into blaming others, we get stuck in a cycle of negativity. Blame is an external projection. It takes our focus away from what we can do and places it on things that are beyond our control. The moment we take responsibility, we break that cycle. We stop waiting for the world to change and start changing ourselves, which in turn allows us to change our circumstances. But responsibility isn't just about owning your mistakes or failures. It's also about owning your successes. How often do we downplay our accomplishments or attribute our wins to luck or external factors? Taking full responsibility means recognizing that your efforts, decisions, and actions led to your success. You don't give credit to chance or circumstances, but instead you acknowledge that your persistence, focus, and hard work have played a significant role in getting you to where you are. It's about owning both the good and the bad, knowing that they are all a result of your choices. Responsibility also goes hand in hand with self-discipline. The more we own our path, the more we take control over the day-to-day decisions that lead us toward our goals. We stop waiting for motivation to strike and begin to rely on our discipline to keep us moving forward, no matter how tough things get. It's about committing to the process, trusting that our efforts will pay off, and staying the course even when the road is rocky. Self-discipline means doing the work, not because you feel like it, but because you've taken responsibility for your life and your dreams. Another crucial aspect of taking responsibility is letting go of excuses. When we take full ownership of our path, we stop making excuses for why things aren't happening the way we want them to. Instead, we ask ourselves, what can I do right now to change this situation? We don't waste time blaming the past or complaining about what we can't control. We take action, we learn, and we keep moving forward. The power to change, improve, and grow always lies within us. It's important to note that taking responsibility doesn't mean becoming overly self-critical or beating ourselves up over mistakes. It means acknowledging our imperfections without letting them define us. When we own our path, we don't hide from our failures, but instead we learn from them. We accept that mistakes are part of the journey and we use them as stepping stones to get better. When you take responsibility for your life, you empower yourself to create the future you desire. You no longer wait for things to happen to you. You make things happen. You begin to understand that every decision, no matter how small, is shaping your path. And when you realize this, you start making choices that align with your true purpose and values, which leads to a life that is not only more fulfilling, but also more meaningful. To take full responsibility is to reclaim your power, to stop waiting for life to unfold according to others, and to start creating the life you want. It is the key to living with purpose and confidence, knowing that you hold the pen to your story. Adversity is not something we can avoid. It is part of the human experience, and when you walk the path of personal growth, self-discovery, and purpose, you will inevitably encounter obstacles. The journey toward becoming the best version of yourself is rarely smooth, and those who walk this path alone, without relying on others to make decisions or dictate their direction, are the ones who are most often tested by adversity. But here's the thing. Adversity, when faced with strength and perseverance, is not just an obstacle. It's a powerful ally in the development of resilience and wisdom. When we choose to walk alone, we take on the responsibility of navigating our own lives, making decisions, and dealing with the consequences, both good and bad. It's a lonely road in some ways, because we can't look to others for answers, and there's no one to take the blame when things go wrong. We are forced to face the challenges head-on, without distractions or excuses. And this is where adversity plays its role. It forces us to grow. It demands that we sharpen our mind, strengthen our character, and refine our resilience. Adversity does not discriminate. It doesn't care about our goals, our plans, or our dreams. It comes in many forms, whether it's financial struggles, personal relationships that test our patience, professional setbacks, or unexpected events that throw us off course. But adversity also serves as a teacher. It forces us to question our assumptions, challenge our beliefs, and refine our approach to life. Those who walk the lone path will face obstacles that test their commitment to their values and purpose. It's not a matter of if adversity will show up, but when. The lone path walker is not someone who seeks adversity. They aren't looking for struggle or conflict, but they are aware that adversity is part of the journey and will inevitably be present along the way. Instead of running from challenges or hoping they will disappear, they embrace them as an opportunity for growth. They know that in the face of adversity, they have the chance to develop the strength and character that will help them overcome whatever life throws their way. When we face adversity alone, there's no one to lean on except ourselves. This is where the true test lies. It's easy to feel discouraged when we're going through a tough time, and it's tempting to give in to self-pity or frustration. But those who walk alone understand that it's in these moments of difficulty that our true strength is forged. The key is not to avoid adversity, but to use it as a stepping stone toward growth and understanding. Every setback, every hardship, every moment of struggle is an opportunity to prove to ourselves that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. Adversity also has a way of refining our purpose. When life is easy, when everything is going smoothly, it's easy to become complacent. We might not push ourselves as hard, and we might not take the time to reflect on what truly matters to us. But when faced with difficulty, we are forced to reassess our priorities. We are forced to dig deeper and ask ourselves, what do I truly want? What am I willing to fight for? What is worth my time and energy? Adversity helps us clarify our goals and align our actions with our deeper sense of purpose. One of the most important lessons we can learn from adversity is the importance of perseverance. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected challenges. But it's how we respond to these challenges that determines whether we succeed or fail. Those who walk alone must develop the mental toughness to keep going, even when things seem impossible. They understand that success doesn't come overnight, and that the most meaningful accomplishments are often the result of consistent effort in the face of difficulty. When we walk the path of adversity, we also learn to let go of the need for approval or validation from others. The lone pathwalker is not concerned with what others think. They are driven by an inner conviction and a belief in their ability to navigate life's challenges. They understand that external validation is fleeting and that true strength comes from within. Adversity forces us to rely on our inner resources, our determination, our resilience, and our belief in ourselves. In doing so, we become more self-reliant and less dependent on the opinions of others. Adversity also teaches us humility. When we face challenges, it's easy to become overwhelmed or discouraged. We might feel like we're not strong enough or capable enough to handle what's in front of us. But adversity has a way of breaking down our ego. It humbles us, reminding us that we are not invincible and that we must continue to learn and grow if we want to overcome life's challenges. This humility is essential on the lone path, as it keeps us grounded and focused on what truly matters. Lastly, adversity fosters empathy. Those who have faced struggles and challenges themselves are often the ones who are most compassionate toward others. They understand what it's like to feel lost, confused, or defeated, and because they have walked through their own struggle, they are better equipped to offer support and understanding to those around them. Adversity teaches us that we are all connected in our humanity and that we must lift each other up as we navigate life's challenges. As you walk your own path, remember that adversity is not an enemy to be feared, but a companion to be embraced. It will come, and when it does, it will test you. But with every test, you will grow stronger. With every challenge, you will become wiser. And when you look back, you will see that it was through the adversity that you truly found your strength and your purpose. The lone pathwalker does not seek adversity, but when it arrives, they face it head-on, knowing that it is part of the journey and knowing that they have the strength to overcome it. The world often praises those who thrive in the spotlight, who bask in the public's attention and recognition. We see it in celebrities, athletes, politicians, and anyone who commands a crowd. But if we're truly honest with ourselves, we have to recognize that the most significant legacies are not born from fame, nor are they defined by the applause of others. True legacy, the kind that lasts beyond your lifetime, is built in solitude. It's crafted in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when no one is there to cheer you on, or even to notice your efforts. When you walk your own path, you realize that greatness isn't something that happens overnight. It's the result of consistent, focused effort. It's about doing the work when no one is watching. The temptation to seek external validation is strong, especially in a world that thrives on social media likes, followers, and comments. But it's important to understand that those external accolades are fleeting. They fade quickly and often leave you feeling empty. The applause may fade, but the work, the character you build, and the values you instill in your life, those are what truly endure. The greatest accomplishments are often the ones that are forged in private, in those hours spent working alone, reflecting and pushing yourself to become better. When you make the decision to carve your path, you choose to dedicate yourself to your purpose, regardless of whether anyone acknowledges your efforts. You don't need the world's approval to move forward with your mission. In fact, the absence of attention can be a gift because it allows you to focus more deeply on what truly matters: your growth, your purpose, and your values. Consider the individuals who have had the most profound impact on history, culture, and society. Many of them didn't seek the spotlight. They didn't chase fame. They were people of deep conviction who did the hard work behind the scenes. Their actions spoke louder than their words. They were driven by purpose, not the need for praise. It was in their moments of solitude that they honed their craft, sharpened their minds, and refined their approach to life. Their legacy wasn't built in public accolades, but in the quiet hours when they were alone, working relentlessly toward their goals. A true legacy is the reflection of what you do when no one else is looking. It's about what you build in the solitude of your own thoughts, in the quiet persistence of your work, and in the resilience to continue when the world seems indifferent. The actions you take when you're not seeking attention are the ones that have the power to leave a lasting impact. It's in those moments of isolation that you're able to truly understand your values, refine your character, and create a foundation that can withstand the pressures of the world. The world is full of distractions, and it's easy to get caught up in seeking approval from others. But the reality is, approval doesn't build your legacy. The way you respond to challenges when no one is watching, the way you persevere in the face of adversity, and the way you show up for your purpose every single day are the things that matter most. The most powerful legacy is not what you do in the spotlight, but what you do in those moments of solitude. That's where your true character is forged. When you embrace solitude, you also learn the importance of self-discipline and focus. In the silence, you can strip away the noise and get down to the essence of what matters. You can focus on your craft, develop your strengths, and refine your purpose. This dedication in solitude is where the work is done. It's where you figure out what really drives you, what you're willing to sacrifice for, and what kind of person you want to become. That's where you build the foundation for your legacy. Solitude gives you the opportunity to grow without external distractions. It forces you to turn inward and rely on your own inner resources to fuel your progress. When you're not looking for recognition or praise, you can focus on improving yourself, your skills, and your mindset. You're free from the pressure of performing for others, which allows you to be your most authentic self. In those quiet moments, you connect deeply with your purpose, and you build the life that aligns with your true values. It's easy to assume that legacy is about what others remember about you after you're gone. But the truth is, your legacy is built in every decision you make, in every small action, in every moment of effort when no one is looking. It's about showing up every day and doing the work even when it feels like no one notices. Over time, these seemingly small actions compound into something far more significant than any moment of applause could ever offer. And this is where your true legacy lies, in the consistency of your work, in the integrity of your actions, and in the quiet dedication to your purpose. Legacy is also deeply tied to the example you set for others, not through words, but through your actions. When you walk the path of solitude and focus on building your character, you become a silent example for others to follow. You don't need to stand in the spotlight for your actions to speak volumes. Your legacy is in the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you show up for the things that matter to you, even when no one is watching. People are influenced by your quiet dedication, your perseverance, and your strength. So, as you continue on your path, remember that your legacy isn't something you can build through recognition or attention. It's built in the solitude of your efforts. It's built in the quiet moments when you focus on your growth, your values, and your purpose. When you focus on the process and let go of the need for praise, you'll find that the impact you make will far outlast any fleeting moment in the spotlight. Your true legacy will be a reflection of who you were when you were alone, dedicated to your cause, and driven by the strength of your own convictions. And that's the kind of legacy that truly lasts. The world often praises those who thrive in the spotlight, who bask in the public's attention and recognition. We see it in celebrities, athletes, politicians, and anyone who commands a crowd. But if we're truly honest with ourselves, we have to recognize that the most significant legacies are not born from fame, nor are they defined by the applause of others. True legacy, the kind that lasts beyond your lifetime, is built in solitude. It's crafted in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when no one is there to cheer you on or even to notice your efforts. When you walk your own path, you realize that greatness isn't something that happens overnight. It's the result of consistent, focused effort. It's about doing the work when no one is watching. The temptation to seek external validation is strong, especially in a world that thrives on social media likes, followers, and comments. But it's important to understand that those external accolades are fleeting. They fade quickly and often leave you feeling empty. The applause may fade, but the work, the character you build, and the values you instill in your life, those are what truly endure. The greatest accomplishments are often the ones that are forged in private, in those hours spent working alone, reflecting and pushing yourself to become better. When you make the decision to carve your path, you choose to dedicate yourself to your purpose, regardless of whether anyone acknowledges your efforts. You don't need the world's approval to move forward with your mission. In fact, the absence of attention can be a gift, because it allows you to focus more deeply on what truly matters: your growth, your purpose, and your values. Consider the individuals who have had the most profound impact on history, culture, and society. Many of them didn't seek the spotlight, they didn't chase fame. They were people of deep conviction who did the hard work behind the scenes. Their actions spoke louder than their words. They were driven by purpose, not the need for praise. It was in their moments of solitude that they honed their craft, sharpened their minds, and refined their approach to life. Their legacy wasn't built in public accolades, but in the quiet hours when they were alone, working relentlessly toward their goals. A true legacy is the reflection of what you do when no one else is looking. It's about what you build in the solitude of your own thoughts, in the quiet persistence of your work, and in the resilience to continue when the world seems indifferent. The actions you take when you're not seeking attention are the ones that have the power to leave a lasting impact. It's in those moments of isolation that you're able to truly understand your values, refine your character, and create a foundation that can withstand the pressures of the world. The world is full of distractions, and it's easy to get caught up in seeking approval from others. But the reality is, approval doesn't build your legacy. The way you respond to challenges when no one is watching, the way you persevere in the face of adversity, and the way you show up for your purpose every single day are the things that matter most. The most powerful legacy is not what you do in the spotlight, but what you do in those moments of solitude. That's where your true character is forged. When you embrace solitude, you also learn the importance of self-discipline and focus. In the silence, you can strip away the noise and get down to the essence of what matters. You can focus on your craft, develop your strengths, and refine your purpose. This dedication in solitude is where the work is done. It's where you figure out what really drives you, what you're willing to sacrifice for, and what kind of person you want to become. That's where you build the foundation for your legacy. Solitude gives you the opportunity to grow without external distractions. It forces you to turn inward and rely on your own inner resources to fuel your progress. When you're not looking for recognition or praise, you can focus on improving yourself, your skills, and your mindset. You're free from the pressure of performing for others, which allows you to be your most authentic self. In those quiet moments, you connect deeply with your purpose, and you build the life that aligns with your true values. It's easy to assume that legacy is about what others remember about you after you're gone. But the truth is, your legacy is built in every decision you make, in every small action, in every moment of effort when no one is looking. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when it feels like no one notices. Over time, these seemingly small actions compound into something far more significant than any moment of applause could ever offer. And this is where your true legacy lies, in the consistency of your work, in the integrity of your actions, and in the quiet dedication to your purpose. Legacy is also deeply tied to the example you set for others, not through words, but through your actions. When you walk the path of solitude and focus on building your character, you become a silent example for others to follow. You don't need to stand in the spotlight for your actions to speak volumes. Your legacy is in the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you show up for the things that matter to you, even when no one is watching. People are influenced by your quiet dedication, your perseverance, and your strength. So, as you continue on your path, remember that your legacy isn't something you can build through recognition or attention. It's built in the solitude of your efforts. It's built in the quiet moments when you focus on your growth, your values, and your purpose. When you focus on the process and let go of the need for praise, you'll find that the impact you make will far outlast any fleeting moment in the spotlight. Your true legacy will be a reflection of who you were when you were alone, dedicated to your cause, and driven by the strength of your own convictions. And that's the kind of legacy that truly lasts.